Ranma has the chance to do the dumbest thing possible after episode 9, and I really hope they commit to the bit in episode 10 because, for my sanity, Akane accepting that Ryoga is P-chan, it feels all but like you have to. There's no way she says otherwise. But when I think about how it would fry my brain and how there would just be no excusing it, I truly hope she somehow still sidesteps it. This show is so brilliant with how it uses stupidity and ignorance. The idea that you start the episode off with Ranma pouring water on Ryoga, turning him into pig, and there's at least 3 people in the background with their mouths hanging open. You only just needed one to just point and be like, what the hell? Or the fact that in this episode, someone in the crowd has a brief speaking moment, pretty much being like, what are you guys talking about? There was literally no chemistry here. The fact that the only people who seemingly have logic are random side characters who probably won't have a speaking role at all, or maybe a one-line thing. And the fact that the worst girl we've met yet is the one to do the thing I literally said last week. How did Akane miss the necklace? It's identical to P-chan's. And as soon as this little bitch sees, she's like, hey, are you P-chan? The girl with no knowledge there's magical shenanigans going on was able to call out that Ryoga looks like P-chan because of the necklace. And Akane was like, wait a sec, but then pulls away. I'm going to suspect she has to confirm that that is indeed P-chan. But given the logic up to this point, I actually think they are going... I think you could have a full-ass presentation and explain why P-chan's Ryoga, and she probably would still be like, are you sure about that? For the comedy's sake, please commit to her just staying ignorant. Let every character have an element of stupidity that is so unmatched you say, how in God's name? Brilliant. 10 out of 10 would I recommend. Full live reactions over on Patreon if you want to see me break in real time to this comedy gold greatness over there exclusively. So, I'm really liking this arc, but it raises a question. I kind of expect at this point, whatever competition happens, it's going to have martial arts involved. I've just realized that after the whole wrestling debacle that we had a few weeks ago. But this was straight up attempted murder. I don't think people realize just how deadly skates are in general. Like, a skate just... If you move your leg at an angle with a skate, you're slitting someone's throat very easily if it connects. It is incredibly... because the skates are ridiculously sharp, so you can glide across the ice. That's why I find, like, figure skating and shit and, like, the competitions just so baffling that I'm like, you guys have balls of steel, because one wrong slip up, you got a knife going down your throat. But respect to the people who can do it. It's just, I would rather go skydiving, to be honest. But it's the fact that they like, the first, like, third of the fight that we saw, yeah, skates are kind of flowing by faces, but it doesn't look like they're directly trying to connect skate to neck. And then the second half comes in, and they are doing exactly that. Both sides, Rama's trying to do it, they're trying to do it, and they're literally drop kicking with sword. Like, you have to understand, this is the equivalent of them having giant swords and swinging it at each other with the intent to cut limbs off. Like, they were thirsting for blood, and it's just the fact that the more I see, the more I genuinely question, is there a law enforcement in this world? Because even if we assume their culture, their world, is just the type that has a lot of martial arts and fighting, what would be a crime in this world, or enough to blow the whistle and say, actually, this is a little much? Like, even Mike Tyson, when he bit a man's ear off, had the cops surround him. But this is a world that I'm actually convinced you could cut off a limb and they would look in their rule book of 1,000 pages and say, there's not a rule about this. They'd grab a pen, write, it's okay to decapitate people, and they'd be like, actually, it's illegal. I need to see the police. Even if it's just the police in the crowd being like, this is fun. at least I would know it exists, but I'm firmly convinced there's no law enforcement. And that makes it even more funny to me because I have to genuinely wonder, what is there ever gonna be a limit? Because seemingly the only times they've ever like implied there's limits is like it's not insane enough, or how dare you not follow their rules even though what they're doing is way more insane. And that's what makes this show so freaking funny to me, because you have all of this brain rot going on in one, and it just is so well constructed. Because around the time the manga came out initially, right, that was around the time battle shonens were starting to become quite popular. So it's really interesting having an author blend essentially a battle shonen kind of like fight styles, but with a rom-com dynamic. Because on paper, it sounds like it should be probably not that exciting, or it would be okay for a little bit. But I can just see the endless possibilities. Martial arts baseball. Martial arts competitive swimming. Someone's gonna bring nunchucks into the water and break someone's skull. It is so over the top, and I honestly love it. Melts my brain, but I honestly love the fact that we are going to end up in a situation where collectively the world's going to know there's magical bullshit at play, and there's still going to be dynamics like Akane not knowing who P-chan is, and all these other characters. They're just going to have their one moment. And the fact that as I'm waiting for her to just realize the caller, this girl had to walk in, no knowledge of magical shenanigans. Are you P-chan? To all the people who try to tell me, well, why would they ever think Ranma's, magically transforming? There's no magic in this world, so it just looks like characters in the same outfit. The psychopathic girl who's physically abusive took one look at the collar and recognized, hey, that doesn't make sense. That collar can't come off. As little logic as there is in this show, there is clearly still logic at play. So yes, everyone should collectively at this point realize Ranma is transforming, especially with how Ryoga failed to remove from the situation. But I think one of the things I'm really enjoying about the long-term play is how they're legitimately building the chemistry between Ranma and Akane. It started off pretty whatever because they obviously had no interest in each other, completely understandable. But the dynamic and how hard they're working for each other, you can truly tell they're falling in love, and I actually really enjoy, the dynamic they're building. And you can tell I'm definitely going to continue to, quote-unquote ship them, but really that's, they're engaged. I mean, the shipping's already happened. It's just we're actually seeing chemistry rather than just an arranged marriage with no chemistry. Either way, I'm loving all the characters. Even the ones I hate, like these two that we're going up against, they're infuriating, but damn are they entertaining, and I wouldn't change a single thing about them. Let me know your thoughts and feelings though down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around, of course ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon. Hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Brandon Logren, Jessica Compton, Fate, Snake Eater 7, Dark Lord, Dylan Miles, Jornas Pierre, and we also have Anonymous Person. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care. Y'all have a good one.